Is there any point? Now it's gonna crash. Maybe it won't crash. Hey guys. Oh. Sorry things are late. I had technical difficulties and I was working on some stuff, as you might see, and I just started the stream late. But I guess I'm gonna do it. Why bail? These go really long anyway, so we can still be late. Just late on camera. I'm hoping that you guys can hear me now. I think that you can. Man, this is such a mess. But I want to tell you hello. And today I want to talk about two things. Not really try to accomplish anything because things are a complete and giant mess. I want to talk about where did I put the remote for my lighting? Turn off. Why are you that way? Okay. Two things. One, I want to talk about revisions for the next Skyreach Mini. And two, I want to talk about doing some brickless builds. I think the brickless option is probably smart because that is going to influence the other discussion. So I want to start there. I wanted to actually have something done and ready for you guys, but, you know, life is life. Life is life. So I'm a little bit behind on that. But there's 3 different brickless options that I see currently. So I want to talk about those, run through those really quickly. Okay. First is with normal height graphics cards. Normal height graphics cards. So when we talk about graphics cards, and this is not me talking about it, this is just how manufacturers tend to measure cards. The height of a graphics card is measured this way. It's not measured by the slots. Don't ask me why. That's just not how it's done. So when we're talking about the height of a graphics card, you can do a brickless build, and I talked about this in my HDplex 400 AC video, which you definitely should watch because it's condensed and to the point. But you basically have 114 millimeters where you can stuff this card and you can stuff an HDplex 400 AC right next to it. But this is what you get, okay? This is what you get. You do get like a little bit of a gap on the R9 Nano. But it's with 114 millimeters, you're touching the brick. So that means if you have connectors on the side of your graphics card, that you can't plug them in. Sean Crees, I appreciate the donation. Thank you very much. Is it get tempered glass? You know, I saw the Bitwit box that was built for the channel I get all my information from that I can't think of at the moment here. The long hair dude. Anyway, I thought that was brilliant, and I almost considered not making another Mini after I saw that prototype. But I'm gonna keep on keeping on. Anyway, so where was I? So if you have the AC/DC power brick and at 114 millimeter card, then R9 Nano or the Nano Vigo is 111 millimeters. You basically are touching the brick. So if you have power connectors, it's a no-go. Why they don't have connectors at the end of a card? Don't ask me again. I am really annoyed that we don't have short cards with connectors at the end. There is no computer case in existence that I can think of where this card makes more sense to have the connectors on the top rather than the side. It does not make sense to me. I thought about it. I've looked in the computer. I've tried to figure out why that is. It doesn't make sense. It's a standard that manufacturers have adopted because it's popular to do. It used to be, of course, when cards were really long, like this long. Wow, look at this card, that they put it on the side because computer cases were a lot less deep. But over time, you know, you buy a standard computer case, and even if you get a 14-inch long card, you have plenty of room to stick the connection on the end and better cable management. So I was thinking, okay, so maybe it has to do with the cooling, right? So if you put them on the side, you can have the heat sink go out. But that doesn't make sense either because of how this card works. You could easily pop them there and have the fins go over. I'm ranting. That has nothing to do with anything. The point is, we have a problem. We need to figure out how to power this card. So there's a couple different ways to do it. One is by modding the card. That to me makes the most sense. It would be the easiest for me to do, and that's just a matter of either desoldering the 6-pin and the 8-pin and soldering new ones on the back side of the PCB. Easy for me to do, not so easy for everybody else to do. I totally and completely understand that. But that would be a quick, easy way to power a Vega Nano or cards similar. Another method of making this work is to put the GPU in front. Well, I'll talk about the cheat way. With the Nano, actually, you can use ultra low profile cables. Okay? And these are basically cables where you don't even have a connector and you're bending the MiniFit Junior pin halfway through at 90-degree angle and popping them in. Is this the cleanest way? Is this kind of hacky? Yeah, it is kind of hacky. But, I mean, if you're a modder and you know what you're doing, and the fact and they're not coming out with this brick installed because you'll take up all the room. But that's one method I want to talk about. So with the Nano, you can just do that with some cables. The last way is to put the power supply in the front. But to do that, you need to mod the power supply. In fact, the reason I'm so late is because I was in the shop. I got the grinder out and I started grinding. I didn't finish it, as you can see. But you can just grind one side down. You need a total of 1.2 millimeters. So about 1.5 millimeters on this long side. And then you need to go all the way down to 2 millimeters where it goes over the motherboard tray. So this would fit like so. And then it will fit right in front of the Nano. Like I said, I didn't get done time. It's almost there. It's almost there. If I spent a little more time with the grinder, it would fit in the front. And that allows you to take something like the Dynamo 360 and you can stick it in the front. Or you can stick the Dynamo 360 over the PCIe riser ribbon. About like right here, right in the middle of the computer case. So that is another method of doing a normal sized graphics card. Okay, so what about a less hacky or moddy way to get a graphics card like this hooked up? Well, that's what I'm going to cover right this second. We're going to see if it works on camera together, and if it doesn't work, okay, well, we got to go back to modding. And then once we've had this discussion, then we can talk about revisions and why I'm very slow to increase the mini size. All right, so I'll put this across the side from here. Of course, you could run it without the case and then just be done with it, you know, but it will overheat and explode into a fireball. Let's put this here for now. How's everybody doing tonight? If you guys want to shout out in your chat where you are from, what country you're from, or what state you're from, I think that's a lot of fun. Even if you've done it before, it's cool to see where everybody is around the world. I'll check the mic in a second. How come the first people on never tell me about the microphone problems? What I'm asking about the microphone problems. Some people have double audio. Interesting. Can you try closing the stream off and refreshing it, and then I'll double check it? But I'll look right now and see what's going on. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. That goes down into there. This goes into here. Let's try this. Audio disabled.
Lori just brought Harvey back his crush outside.
My dogs ran off. 1 second. wife is off getting the dog. I don't know if the audio is working again. All right, awesome. Where were we? Is there still 2 audio even after a refresh? I could stop the stream and start the stream again, but that would break everything. It would break the internet. Okay, where was I? I don't even remember. All right, a easier way of doing a card, like the Nano, or this is a customer's card. I was supposed to tell him that I was going to do a live stream today, but I mean, I barely even did the live stream today with how crazy it was. This is the Inno3D 2060. And this is also about a 214 millimeter tall card. We'll see. But this does fit with the HDPlex 400 AC installed. But again, connectors on the end. But there may be a way to cheat. There may be a way to cheat. So I'm going to see if we can do this little cheater time together. Man, I'm so tired. I'm so tired I want to throw up. That's weird. I feel nauseous. I know all of my neighbors, and all my neighbors are amazing. I really have the best neighbors ever. We're all really good friends. But there is one neighbor lady who hates my guts. And she lets her dogs out all the time. They're always in her front yard all the time. And she has a bunch of little dogs. And of course, that drives my dogs absolutely mad. And I can't ever take my dogs outside because, you know, they'll bark and they'll scream and they'll pit. And then she calls animal control on me always. So it's always a nightmare when my dogs do get out that they're going to go over there and she's going to get really, really mad. But sometimes they do get out because I left the shop door open because I didn't know they were outside because they're on the back. Anyway, that's the end of that story. Graphics card. How do I do this? Okay, so, well, I gotta button this up. I had a magnet. Here it is. I think AMD makes some really sick CPUs right now, but I'm really interested in their APUs. Their new APUs they're coming out that got leaked look amazing. And the video I made on the 2400G, like I meant every word of it, I really liked it. It was a product that was just, it was there for a lot of people. It wasn't quite there up to where I wanted it to be, but I could live with it as my personal computer. However, I think the new chips are going to be amazing for me. And that makes building a APU chassis much more reasonable. So I really am thinking about it and playing with it in 3D. Yuki says that I should put a camera above so you can see what I'm doing. And I agree with you. I should do that. There's no reason why. Well, yeah, it's just more money. I have to get another capture card. But I do intend to build a streaming box that has multiple inputs so that I can do that in the future. To Techno Edge says, do you think APUs are the future? You know what? I kind of do. Expansion GPUs are never, ever going to go away. I don't think they are. Even when cell phones become more powerful than what we have now as our desktops, I think you're always going to be able to build a computer system and put your own chips in it. But I do think APUs are going to be much more mainstream. And that's okay, because we're still going to be able to build and customize really awesome computers. We're just going to get to do it, and it's going to be less weird and bulky and everything. And with people actually taking APUs seriously, because it's important for AMD to take it seriously and Intel to take it seriously and the gaming community to take it seriously, I want to help be on that forefront of taking it seriously too. So that's why, again, I'm looking into really a high-end APU kind of computer case. But anyway, the 2400G, and again, I have a good video on it. I say good video. I'm not saying that I make amazing videos, but I have a video that I worked hard on that has my thoughts on it. But I was able to play all the games that I play at 4K and get 60 FPS in all of them. Of course, that means you can't run everything in Ultra. You can turn on the graphics, but at 4K, games can still look good anyway. So it's not a big deal to me. So, where's my water? I don't know if you can buy this hat, actually. This is given to me by Ed from Sapphire. He gave my whole family a box of these hats after some trade show he went to. It's like a really high-end, high-quality hat. I don't usually like to blast out brands on my live streams, but my hat, my welder hat, got really greasy and dirty. I was working on someone's truck the other day, and people give me a hard time for having a dirty hat. So here we are. And I agree with you, Sean Kreese. I totally agree with you on that statement. But I think it is important to say that it's capable of doing it because, well, you can do 4K gaming, then you can do 1440p gaming, and bump the graphics up even more. So I don't know the best way to do this, but here's the basic gist of it. I have a whole box of brand new HDPlex 400 watt AC/DC power supplies. Here's a new one. I am going to take the cover off. Okay? You with me so far? You see where I'm going with this? You guys are miles ahead of me, I know. Hey Flavio, I appreciate your big Italian hug, but because you're Italian, I also expect a big Italian kiss on the cheeks. Both cheeks would be good, actually. All right, so the lid is now off. We actually don't have a ton of room in here. It's not like there's a huge amount of space that has opened up that we can just put the connector in. However, depending on where the chips lie, we may actually be able to mate the graphics card with the power plugs in it with the power supply. So I'm going to get one of my Skywire cables /TM. Actually, I'm going to get two of them for reasons you will see. The 2060 is a single pin. And this is going to be about right here. So ideally, we want to have the HDPlex 400 with the power connector for the power output in the front of the chassis and the power input in the back of the chassis, right? I don't think that's actually going to work, but let's see. Let's see if it's going to work or not. It's very tight, and I can't really get the graphics card to seat all the way. If I push it back, however, you wouldn't really have good enough room for a C8 connector. Guess what? It fits. That was pretty easy. That didn't require cutting or anything like that. That just required me taking the lid off of the HD Plex 400 AC/DC. Again, we have some concerns with the power connector. There's not really a lot of room back there now. There might not be enough room, but we can always make stuff like that work, right? We can actually make a spacer for the back for the power connector. Not a big deal. Not an issue. But the game is not over yet. The game is not over yet, because with just simply running longer cables, you can flip the power supply around, and I think, yep, it will mate up just fine, and you will have enough room to install your power connector. Now again, you have the cable's on the wrong side, so you're gonna have to run them around and worry about that nonsense. But it's not really that big of a deal, right? So you have a little bit longer cables, who cares? So, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Now you have a 4-watt power supply in the proper orientation. This is gonna cool fine, with a 2060, and you can put whatever CPU you want in there. You want to put a 900K in there? Fine. That's a pretty sick system, if you ask me. Now, there are some things you might want to consider, like this lid does not have ventilation on it for a reason. It's because it's designed to have cross flow through the power supply for the fan, which starts spinning up around 300 watts. So if you hit the 300 watt threshold, it is going to need some active cooling. But it does run. It doesn't need cooling past before 300 watts. Of course, you see what we could do. We could cut a hole in it and tape off where the power connector goes. We maybe could, I don't know. There's ways of handling this, right? I mean, you could easily just put tape. You could put powder coating tape over the side of it, if you didn't want to mod anything or cut anything. That way we'd have the channel flow through it. Not a big deal at all. But what other graphics cards will work with this? Well, again, any graphics card that is standard height to 114 millimeters, that's 110 to 114 millimeters wide, this should work. Depending on the placement of the connector, it might not exactly fit. I actually don't know if it's going to fit with the Nano this way. Let's check it out, because the Nanos, of course, its connectors are further back. I can probably allow a PC part picker build. And Sean, that's a great point. If you have transverse fins, you could actually take your shroud off, and you might actually get some fan air blowing over the power supply components, and it might even run cooler than the power supply would normally run. And you might say, well, what if the hot air from the graphics cards hit it? Don't worry, hot air is still way, way cooler than those hot components. So it still could work if it gets enough airflow, which it might. It depends on the graphics card, but it might. You don't have to worry about hot air though. Hot air blowing over your components is fine. Obviously, colder the better, but hot air will work as long as there's some air. The Nano, the one we care about is the one in the back. It has 2 power connectors, which makes things spicy. But let's see what happens. That, unfortunately, is rough. It's rough because that's hitting the top of the IC and the capacitor, and the transformer. It's stuck all between all 3 of those things, and it's not really going to budge. So the Nano isn't going to work that way. So you're really going to have a graphics card to do this trick with the connector at the end if it's like around 210-ish to 215 millimeters in length, I think it would work. But anyway, the Inno3D 2060 works really good. Now I just need to find a card that's easy to get in the States. And we're good to go. So those are some options. Chop up your power supply, stick it in the front, and that would work with the Gigabyte 1080 and hopefully 2080 mini when it comes out. And of course the 2070 and the MSI Aero cards by chopping up your power supply. Or you can, in some cases, like the R9 Nano, make a super low profile cable and sandwich it between the power supply and your graphics card. Mod the graphics card to move the power connectors. If you are into soldering, not really too big of a deal, but you are messing with your graphics card, so it's probably way down the list of what people could have. And lastly, and this is something I wouldn't say because I'm super biased, you could just cut into your case. You could remove these two flanges, but why would you cut into the Skyreach case, right? It's not the Skyreach's fault that this stuff doesn't fit. It's the manufacturer's not making a graphics card to standard that makes them not fit. And of course, that is an inflammatory statement, but really, it's my point of view. It's my point of view. And that brings us into this real meat and potatoes of this video. And that is, what revisions do we want in the Mini? And before we talk about all the fluff, let's just get right down to it. 100% of people want to be able to put graphics cards like the 2080 and the 2080 Ti eventually Mini into this computer case with a power brick, right? And here's what I think on that. That's great and glorious as long as it fits already. But this is a never-ending goalpost which just wears me out. Like, there's no reason for graphics cards to be oversized the way that they are. They just keep growing and growing and growing because they want to differentiate themselves from all the other graphics cards on the market. So it's all about looks. I mean, to give you a great example, EVGA now has the XC cards. They're not even happy with having a double slot oversized card. No, now it has to be almost triple slot and width. Where does this goalpost end? Where are people going to take seriously the fact that we are reducing the die size and going to smaller lithography to make smaller graphics cards? It's like, no, we have smaller lithography. Let's make even bigger ones now that can run without the fans. And I understand it to a certain point. I'm not really ranting, but it's kind of like, where do we want to go? We can make the Mini bigger, but the Mini gets bigger every time I do a major revision, right? We had the S1, which wasn't called the S1, it was called the V3, but now it's called the S1. Tiny computer case, fit a graphics card and a motherboard, no problem, 1U. Then we had the S3, and then we had the S3 version 2, which was about 5 millimeters taller. And then we had the S3 Elite, which grew, and the S4 Mini, which grew, and then the Skyreach 4 Mini, which grew even more. So it's like, it grows and grows and grows and grows because the graphics cards grows and grows and grows and grows. Why can't we just have good manufacturers that actually want to stay within the standard ATX boundaries and do things like put connectors on the end of it where they belong? That's my rant. So why does that matter? Why does it matter? It matters because the Skyreach is a unique computer case, right? What separates it from everybody else? I think that there's two things. One is attention to detail, which is a huge thing I need to talk about next. And number two is that I guard it from feature creep. I guard it from getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And that means that I butt heads when people want to expand it because I'm saying, well, I think the reason that you like it, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think the reason you like it is because it's so small, right? And if we keep making it bigger for every graphics cards that comes out, every oversized graphics card that comes out, it's kind of gonna not be that special anymore. So I'm a modder. I like tinkering and tweaking and stuff. And I think a lot of the fun for building a super small form factor build for me anyway is figuring out what hardware is available for this particular size I want to work with, whatever the case is, and how can I be unique by jamming it in there, you know? That being said, of course I want to stick the fastest graphics card in here. I would sell a lot of these and then I would make a lot of money. But This is not a money-making business. What person in their right mind would ever go, you know what I want to do to make money? I want to make a really expensive luxury computer case, which there is not really a market for, and then it has to have a PCIe riser ribbon and use special power supplies, 2 special power supplies, which are ridiculously expensive, and it super limits your CPU cooler height and the graphics card that you can stick in there. And that's how I'm going to make my $1 million. So, anyway, I haven't even looked at the chat because of my huge rants, but I want to answer some questions. So I'm going to go over here and see if there's some good ones that I should answer. Water block, Inno3D model. Nintendo Edge asks, what are the benefits of the Inno3D 2060 compared to other manufacturers? It's a 2060, and it's basically standard height. It's a little bit over, but it will fit with the Mini. Every other 2060 I've seen is either like a triple decker, triple slot, or it's really wide. It's over 114 millimeters tall is what they call it. Mr. KKC asked a good question, but it's one I can't answer right now, so I'm not going to answer it. But a good question. J9N says, I'm tempted to try a custom water loop in the Mini with some spare parts, and your idea is to use upcoming APUs and use the space where the card will be for liquid cooling components. It's a fantastic idea. Please check out the video I did on that so you can see what I did wrong and what I did right, and go on from there. More all-in-one stuff. Go check out the video again. Jim Bond says, there's Opal Electronics. There must be water somewhere close. Yes, don't worry. There's water precariously sitting on a pile of power supplies on my workbench. Some of them are plugged in. Aiden Mariah says, will this work with the Inno3D 2070? I don't know. As long as that card is under 214 millimeters tall, then yes. And Caesar says, have you tried desoldering the plug and making the GPU corded and plugging it into the power supply? Yeah, you could do that. I mean, that's what I'm talking about with changing the angles of the PCI connectors. Any plans for an HD 400 AC DC external conversion kit? Absolutely, but I'm not ready for it yet. Then we have some good questions, but I answered a lot of them. Flavio says, why don't you make the S4 longer? I had a rant about that just now. You probably don't want to hear it again. Some good stuff. Some things I'm going to actually do. I'm going to address. Shreven, I'm going to answer that. Okay. I think I've caught up to the questions. So, in a nutshell, I am considering meeting everybody halfway and expanding the chassis. Okay? I am not considering, I did consider it, but I have basically said no. You can still change my mind, but I basically said no to oversized cards with a power connector and the power supply. Okay? Because that means if we do go back eventually to standard size graphics cards, we are going to waste a ton of cubic space. Just ton of cubic space. So I don't want to make a computer case that accommodates these oversized graphics cards when really the standard should be, we should be looking and supporting graphics card manufacturers that are making normal size-ish, this is even oversized graphics cards. So I don't want to do that. So that means I'm not going to make a computer, well, that's something different. I'm not going to take the Skyreach 4 Mini and make it that much longer. However, I am considering making it 15 millimeters wider so you can put the R9 Nano, 110 millimeter wide graphics card, tall graphics card, I even get confused by manufacturers calling that tall, that has a power connector. That way you can just drop it in and have a good day. I'm considering that. But it's painful for me. It's painful. So, yeah, Sean Cree says if you invert the GPU, it can overlap the motherboard a bit and fit the power supply in the case. That's almost true. And it's totally true for this graphics card. It's not true for... I'm just wading through graphics cards and now I've lost my Nano. It's not true for the Nano. And I want to show you it so you can see, not just take my word for it. What did I do with it? Are you guys paying attention to my crazy rant? Did I put my... This is how stupid I am, how tired I am. It's in front of me. So it won't work. It won't work with shorter graphics cards because the power connector will go through the PCIe slot. And trust me, like I've spent the last week in CAD and my eyeballs feel like they want to just pop out. I have tried every single combination of graphics card, moving it around you possibly could do, putting the power supply on this side of the case, putting on this side of the case, putting the front of the case, putting on top. I mean, I have done everything, but it comes down to the same basic problems. You have to widen the case. There's no other way to do it. So, Michael Spraggan says, have you used any of G-Nuke's power supplies? On topic, have you considered making the S4 modular so the feature creep can be prevented? Yes, a modular mini has been my goal for before I made the S4 Mini Classic. I have many different prototypes. I have many different CAD models. I want to make it modular at some point. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have a product coming up, maybe even this year if you guys cross your fingers and can really support it, for a modular product. However, it's not a magic bullet. That's why I have not released one yet. It has so many drawbacks. It has so many problems with it. There's not a clean, easy way. And I promise you, there's not a clean, easy way. I talk to my friends. People email me all the time. And they're saying, why can't you just do it this? It would be your problem. And then I have to Skype them and spend 30 minutes with them. And they're like, oh, okay, it doesn't work the way I thought it would be. And it's really hard to go into it right here. I mean, it's a really complicated subject. I do want to make a detailed video on it where I can edit it and make sure I get the language right. But there's two basic problems. There's a million problems, but there's two basic main ones. The first one is this. The Mini is so small, can you see this? Because you can actually overlap the GPU tabs with the motherboard, okay? So we're talking about 12 millimeters of dimensional space that goes to the front and the back of the computer case that you have to account for when you flip the graphics card. So you have to increase the width of the graphics card, the width of the case by 12 millimeter if you want this to flip around. The second problem is the graphics card is not, I actually have a long ranty video which isn't very good on the subject in my Discord if you want to watch it. But if the graphics card is not a block, it's not a square block. As you can see, it's like a Tetris piece. It kind of zigzags down with the power connector. So if you can't just flip it around one way because you're moving a bunch of other parts around. So you can't just flip the graphics card around with the back plate. You have to actually plan for how hardware is going to fit. And there's only two places that it will fit with certain combinations of cards. And then when you do flip it, it gets to be extremely complicated to account for space where you're going to be mounting the sky bracket for like extra hard drives and stuff like that. So you can do it, but there's a lot of drawbacks. On top of that, the second major problem is the Mini is special, and one of the reasons it's so expensive is because it has tooling that not a lot of other, I don't know of any other computer case. I'm sure they're out there, but I don't know of any other computer case that has a super tight bend. It's considered a tear bend, even though there's no tear in it because it uses a special die, and there's no notching. So if you guys know some sheet metal terminology, it has a super, super tight radius. So the motherboard is basically connected to the same panel as this part right here. And that makes it so difficult to have any kind of interchangeable plates. I think I have an idea that came out of years and years and years of trying to get this to work where I can solve this problem, but it's a big problem. And if you want to spend some time in SketchUp to try to figure it out, please do. If you think I'm stupid and I don't know what I'm talking about, amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please prove it to me in 3D and send it to me, and I'll be happy to credit you and, maybe even get you in on the design if I can actually use a solution from you. I'm happy, super willing to do that. But, I have tried out a lot of stuff, and I've talked to a lot of people who are very skilled at this kind of thing, and it's a big challenge. So, again, I am all for modular because modular is NFC systems, and I have two products that I really want to at least release one this year that is a modular based computer case. I'm very excited about it. I don't know if it's going to release this year. I don't know if I'll have enough money to actually do it, but that's a separate product. In order to have the smallest possible computer case, you have to do it the way the Mini is. And if you do it modular, it's got to grow. It has to grow if you start putting a graphics card in there. There's no way around it. And Mac 4 Night, I mean, that's in a nutshell. Make the case bigger. And if it was just a matter of, let's do it, let's make the case bigger, then I would do it. But it's always, let's make the case bigger. Every single time, let's make the case bigger. And I don't want to do that. So we have to stop it at some certain point. Yes, Sean, there's a million solutions. I actually am buying tooling so I can make some graphics cards so they can flip around, so you can actually have a reverse PCI bracket. There's a billion great ideas out there. If you think that you have one that I don't have, please send me an email list with it on there. But this has been my passion for the past, I don't know how many years, just brainstorming and coming up with different ways of flipping a GPU modularly. So, great idea, but that's how you have it. And the down case is brilliant. Exactly. That's my next point. Is that if you need bigger, more powerful stuff and you don't want to compromise, buy a different computer case. The Dan case is a brilliant, brilliant computer case. That's one of my favorite. It is probably one of my favorite computer cases. I like the Mini. That's why I make the Mini still. But the Dan case is brilliant. So, if you need a really long graphics card and you don't want to deal with power supply stuff, there's always going to be a Dan case for you. But for me, a lot of the fun is finding that graphics card like this Inno3D 2060, and maybe, who knows, they'll make a 2070 on the same platform, or maybe even a 2080, and then there's not a problem here. So, sorry, I'm very passionate about this, and I'm super tired, so I'm not filtered at all. Jim Bond, yes, I have literally 100 designs. 100 designs for that. I have an entire Skyreach Mini prototype that Mick Teagues has, and he's posted pictures of it on the forum. Panels, anodizing, the whole 9 yards with that idea. And I made that computer case before I made this computer case. So if you want to check it out, go look at it. The Laser 3D case does have a flippable bracket, and it's bigger because of it. There's no way around it. If you want a modular computer case, it has to get bigger. Not a lot bigger, but we're talking really, really tiny. Every little millimeter counts. Techno, it's a multi-layered question. Definitely check out my video, the HDPlex 400. It's the last produced video I made, because that will better answer your question. Because I could just tell you 114 millimeters, but that's not the whole answer. And I could tell you 110 millimeters, but that's also not the whole answer. Hey, Siegfried. And guys, I also want to tell you this too. I'm very passionate about this, but I'm wrong. Okay? I admit that I am wrong. For some of you. This is my opinion. And I'm very passionate about this. I'm so passionate, I spent 7 years of my life and $100,000 making this computer case. So I am extremely, extremely biased. Extremely biased. And you guys might be right. You might think, you're an idiot, Josh. Just make it bigger. And that's totally fair. I do have... I'm going to actually link you pictures of the computer case with the modular I/O. I can do that now, because I have the patent rolling on it, and you guys aren't going to... Doesn't matter. Not many people have seen this. Firstly, where did everybody go? Here we go. Check out this. This was the design. And secondly, navigating my Imager account is a nightmare. Where is it? I kept it so secret that I don't even have pictures of it. Private pictures of it. I'm looking for it. I'm looking for it. Come on. I found another album, but that's not the right one. Maybe Tegan will pop on and save us all and show us pictures of his. He brought my prototype. He helped me prototype and test it. Oh wait, I know where it might be. 1 second. Where are you? I'm so sorry, guys. Just 1 second. Here we go. Bingo. Okay, so the bezel obviously is custom for Sapphire for this one. They were going to demo it. So you check out that link. You can see that I actually made it. I actually did. So I'm not lying. I actually did make it. It cost a ridiculous amount of money, but I did. I was really serious. Remember, that prototype I'm showing you, I made before I made this. So I've been thinking about it for a long time. But the point of what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of drawbacks to that, and that's why I didn't. Well, for one, it was huge. It was huge. It was super heavy. All that metal started to really, really add up. And it was just it was super gross because, like, if you didn't use an oversized graphics card, it looked horrible, right? You just had a bunch of open space, and that's what I like about this. It's so compact. You're using every single little bit of it. Every little gap is used for wires or power supplies or stuff. So that's another reason I didn't like it. And the last thing was, again, you limit the compatibility you have to put fans and power supply and video cards and stuff like that. And it also was extremely confusing because if you flipped it one way, you had to have detailed instructions how everything fit together. And some parts you could put in, like fans, and other parts you couldn't, like drives. And if you flip the other way, you had the opposite problems. And you have no idea what kind of questions I answer for technical support already in my email. I knew that was going to be just... So anyway, somebody up there just said something really, really important. He said, it feels like we're so close, and I don't understand why you have to choose between fast graphics cards or something to that effect. And that's where I feel. That's why I'm so worked up about this. That's why I'm so frustrated over it. Because we were there. We were there. We had the graphics cards that didn't need to have this graphics card. This is a 1080 Ti, but the 1080 version did not need to be this big. The 1080 could be this big. The 1080 could be, this is more likely. The 1080 could be this big, guys. It could be this big. It could have power connectors on the end. We're already there. We have everything that we need. People are just choosing bad design. There's not a single case out there except from Laser 3D, because you can make a million different cases, which is awesome. That's the awesome thing about having a laser. Where this would not be a better graphics card with the power connector on the end. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. What motherboard, what computer case out there, what computer case out there is going to be less deep than the motherboard, right? It doesn't make any sense. Actually, this is better look at it for you guys, see? They actually made the shroud just so it matched the length of the motherboard, so it looked okay. You don't need to make a computer case that's less than deep with the motherboard, so it doesn't make sense to me why the power connectors can't be at the end. It just doesn't. And Sean brings it up again, and I already ranted about this, but this isn't even good enough for manufacturers anymore. Now, double slot isn't good enough. Now we need triple slot graphics card, a mini ITX triple slot graphics card. What mini ITX case would you want a triple height graphics card in? This it makes my head hurt. What? Why? EVGA. Come on. So frustrating. Anyway, let's throw that out. Let's throw that talk and that conversation out, because we all want it. I want it. I want so bad to put a 2080 in here with this amazing power supply and have my cake and eat it too. I want that. I want it as much as you guys want it. It's just that I'm not willing to sacrifice making the case bigger. But let's throw all that away. Let's talk about practical things. What practical things can we put in the next computer case? I want to know. Go. Somebody brought up earlier in the stream that they want a rigid mount for power supplies in the front. And I can totally do that. I might have to throw away some of the other stuff I put in the front, but it's kind of useless anyway. The reason I didn't do it is, well, there's a couple reasons why I didn't do it, but I don't need to go into those. Try for putting rigid mount in the front for the HD Plex 400. I will try. In the next revision to do that. I have a good enough relationship with HD Plex now where I can tell Larry to keep a certain set of holes, because it's ridiculous how much it changes. It's ridiculous how he moves the stuff around. But I think he has enough here in the back of it to where we can come up with a standard and he can keep it. Okay, so that's one. That's a good suggestion, because people ask me about it all the time. You don't need them, but I just want to answer that question, put them in. Boom, good. All right, so next, Siegfried wants an optical drive. Siegfried, the computer case supports an optical drive. You got to figure out how to mount it. You got to make the sacrifice between what graphics card that you want, but you order custom bezel for me, that's no problem. Optical drive. That's what this cutout is for. So if we put in like this card, and you're some kind of freak, some kind of weirdo that wants an optical drive. No, I'm just kidding. If you want an optical drive, all you gotta do is commission a bezel or something like that to have it done. But it's gonna be expensive for my first one, because I've not really had anybody that wants to take it up that wants an optical drive that big. But as you can see, it does work. I've already thought that I should put that in there in case there was somebody that wanted to do that mod. But there you go. Done. That was easy. So next solution. What do you Mini owners have that you want to change about the Mini? Is there anything in it that I did not think of, or we have thought of as a community, that needs to be in this computer case? Because for me, I had a lot, but I went through it last week. I spent all last week trying to improve it, but everything I came up with was kind of meh. I was thinking changing the front slot right here. So we could put the USB standard mount instead of the USB 3 Type A. I'm not even making sense anymore. Basically have 2 different sizes for the front USB mounts. So if you wanted to use USB-C in the front, you could, or USB-A instead of 2 USB-As. I was thinking about that. But really, I kind of see that as a custom bezel type of thing anyway, depending on your graphics card and that sort of thing, because you can't use the HDPlex 400 and use the USB anyway. So, also, I don't get it. Like, I could see, for the people that want USB in the front, do you actually have like the sides blocked off like this in a media center? Is that why you want it in the front? Because on the desk, it's like such a easy to manipulate computer case. Seems like it'd be easy to get to from the back or even the side. One of my customers put them in the sky slots, like on the side. It looked really good. So I was pretty excited. Please note that I'm never going to include a stock bezel that has USB. It's never going to happen. I'll sell an aftermarket bezel, but we're just talking about the inside of the frame. So if I change the Type A to Type C, so you have one Type C and one Type A, happy to do that. You're going to become a nurse? Thank you, Flavio. I hope that you saved many lives, so thank you for your service. Yes, Rod Rosenberg hit his nail on the head. We all agree. I hope that you missed my enormously wrong and annoying rant on that topic, because it was embarrassing. It's hard. We're so close. And there's some really amazing. You thought that this was cool. This is cool. This is extremely cool. It's my favorite product of 2019. But I think by 2020, we are going to have some really sick power supplies using some really sick, brand new, cutting art the state of the art technology that's going to allow us to have power supplies literally the size of an SSD. In fact, that's Compact's kind of current goal and dream. He is such an innovator. He's always coming up with new stuff, but he found a way to do it. It's going to be expensive and it's not quite ready for manufacturing. So the technology's not there for enough to make it, but he wants to make it happen. Sean Kreese. Oh, perfect topic. Perfect topic. And I want to talk to you about it because you were critical of this. So I do want your opinion. I want to tell you my side of the story, and then I want you to say if I'm being retarded or not. So, why does my case not have a power button? Because I want to make a lot of money. No, but really. Okay, so it came down to this. Everything has a cost, right? Everything has a cost. So if I put a power button in, it's going to have a cost. If I put a cheap power button in so you can use the case right away, what are the benefits? The benefits are everybody has a power button that they can use right away. They don't have to go out and spend more money on a power button, which feels like DLC, and it's annoying. I get that for a certain group of people. The drawbacks are you unbox this $200 computer case that actually is $200 level quality. It's not a $100 computer case that is being marked up at $200. I mean, it's as nice as you can get. No compromise type of computer case. You get that and you unbox it and you feel it. You feel the side panels and the anodizing and the brush marks, which you can't actually feel because they are so fine. They feel like satin. It has beautiful, bright, metallic finish on it. It's not dull or gray or have that yellow cast on it. It feels like a brick with the panels on. There's no flexing or anything like that. It just feels like a piece of money, right? It's just this beautiful, beautiful thing. And then you go to press the power button, and it's this cheap, chintzy, click, crappy plastic, maybe a little bit of aluminum power button in there. And it makes you feel a computer case is only good as its weakest part, in my opinion. And I don't want that luxury product to be associated with a cheap thing I threw in there at the last second so some people could have a power button, right? That's kind of where I'm coming from on the power button side of things. The second thing is, and this is being more honest, even if it's a little bit more brutal, why does anybody buy the Mini? And this is me putting words in people's mouth, but this is me imagining the customer that buys the Mini, okay? If you're buying the Mini, what do you care about? if you're buying a $200 computer case, what do you care about? It's not just the form factor, right? Because there's clones now. You can go buy a clone of the Mini for cheap. You're buying the Mini because you care about attention to detail. Every single little bend is so crisp and lines up with everything else. The anodizing I talked about, all those other things I talked about. If you care about the attention to detail, the power button is going to matter to you because that's how you interact with the computer, right? When you sit down and you turn your computer on, you're touching that power button. So I want the customer to set their expectations, not me. What do I mean by that? Well, if the customer is fine with a $2.50 power button from eBay, they can buy a $2.50 power button from eBay. If they want a $50 button from DigiKey, they can do that. If they want somewhere in between my button, which I think is as nice as you can get, that I made for the Mini, they can buy that. But there's literally thousands of combinations of power buttons that can express what you want, right? As far as the spring, the feedback, what material is it made out of? How is the material finished? Is it anodized? Is it painted? Is it chromed? What kind of LED does it have? Does it not have an LED? Does it have a chamfered edge? Does it have a beveled edge? Does it have a double chamfered or beveled edge like my button does? Does it have a dome top? What's the spring feel like? There's so many different combinations. I just want the customer to set their own expectations when they buy their button, right? So those are the things I'm wrestling with. So I ranted about it, but I want to know your opinion. Do you really think that it's a good idea to throw a cheap power button into the box? Because I can do that. I can throw a cheap power button in the box, but I can't throw a nice one in. Because if I throw a nice one in, I have to charge for it, and it's going to either take away something else from the Mini, or I boost the Mini's cost, and I want to give the customer choice. So it really comes down to, do I put a $3 button in it or not? That's where I come from on that. So so Wang Rozu, I can't say your last name, but tell me how to pronounce it and I will pronounce it good next time. But he says, are there alternate power button choices? Yes. Oh wow, yes. I mean, anywhere you can buy that's the thing. If I had a proprietary slot for the Mini and I was charging you $35 for a power button, that would be evil. That would be completely and totally evil. But it's not. It's a standard power button slot. It's a 16 millimeter momentary Bolgan type switch. And you can buy those anywhere. I mean, every European computer PC mod shop sells them for about $16 ish. Some of them come with wires. None of them really come with good sleeving, premium sleeving. That's why I do mine. That's my thing. You can buy them on Alibaba, AliTrade. You can buy them on eBay. You can buy them on DigiKey. You can buy them on McMaster. You can buy them on Amazon. Oh my goodness, anywhere. So they're not hard to get a hold of. The only person I really struggled with, there was a Japanese gentleman who said that he couldn't find one. And I don't know about that. Maybe I need to find what Japanese would call them, because I feel like you could probably find a 60 millimeter Bolgan switch in Japan. I mean, they have everything over there. So, Ottoman Tech. Not Ottoman Tech. Rod Rosenberg. You know what they say about chambers? Don't cut any corners. Are you married? Do you have a child? Are you a dad, Rod? I need to use that one. That's a dad joke. Okay, so a lot of people have given opinions out, and they are very helpful. They are very helpful, because I'm not married to this idea. This is how I come back. Michael's on my side. Potassium says it's more about convenience and price. Totally get that, too. I'm going to read all of these. I promise you I'm going to read every single one of these and think about it. Mr. KKC says, have I thought about other materials for my computer case? Yeah, all the time. What's practical, though? Steel and aluminum is really what it comes down to. And as far as aluminum goes, I like to use 6000 series. Manufacturers likes to use 5052. So we kind of butt heads in that direction. But really just comes down to those two things. It's the really only practical ones. Now, as like a one-off, what I want to do really, really bad, and if you know anybody that can do this, I will buy a set of brass outer cover panels. That would be such a pain in the butt to get that radius smooth and done. But I want a set of brass panels for my Mini. I would love that. And I don't care if they cost $300, which is what they probably would cost, or more. If you're giving me a good deal, it'd probably be $300. But I would love a pair of brass panels. So that's a great point. You know, Nick says, I agree with him, Bellis, and I guess somebody else says, offer it at checkout. And that's something I really wish I could do. That's a problem I have with SFF Lab. I've told you this before, but I do make a little bit of money on the Mini, which is great, and I hope to make more money on the Mini next time around. I'm probably going to order less because I want to do 2 cases, so I might not make any money on the Mini. But where do I make my money? I make it on the accessories. I make it on the power button, which I've always been honest with. When you buy my power button, it's marked up. That's how you pay my bills. I make money on the bezels, all the accessories on my website. But I can't find a way to incorporate that with SFF Lab. I really want to. I want so they can buy it there or do a better job saying, hey, do you want a power button? Go to my website, you know? And maybe we can do like a bundle deal that way. That would be great. So that's a great suggestion. I really need to sit down with Josh, the other Josh, and Dan and say, hey, look, when people check out of my product, it needs to link them to my website so I can ship it. That's great. That's a great idea. We're not doing it right now. Because on the SFF Lab website, it does say, you know, you had to go buy a power button, but it doesn't link it directly to my website. Now, they might have a problem with this. I don't know if they have a problem with this or not. They might say no way because they want to make money too, right? And if they're linking to my site, I don't know if it makes the money. But we'll have a conversation. They might be totally cool about it. That's a great idea. Sean asks, what about a limited edition billet aluminum edition? Great idea. Dan said, Josh, make a billet mini. Okay? I know where I can get it manufactured. Make a billet mini. So, you know, like the Loki Ghost and all the new fad is billet cases, right? Well, I was like, you know what? I love billet. Billet's amazing. So I did. I went to the computer and I started modeling up and I could not find anything that I liked. You know, it just didn't look good. And then when I was done, I was getting the Loki Ghost in my office and a couple other computer cases out there that were also billet cases. And I don't like them, guys. I'm not dissing the design of the Loki Ghost. I'm not dissing anything that they've done. So please don't take it the wrong way. I'm just talking about that process. You have to get everything sewn thin anyway that you might as well have done it in sheet metal. And I think sheet metal has better finishing options. And you can do cooler stuff with sheet metal than you can do with billet until you start to go extremely expensive, 5-axis milling. So the billet, I don't know if I'm going to I don't think that's ever going to happen, but I might release the files as long as I have some kind of license agreement where people are making it for themselves and not saying, hey, I can go make a billet mini and put Josh out of business. Shriven says, would you ever release a video of best practices in manufacturing, such as optimal methods of cutting acrylic or carbon fiber? That's amazing, a topic for a video. First of all, I will say this. I am an expert in doing all things badly. That's the only thing I'm an expert in. But I have learned a lot along the way, and I could make a video on best practices. I will say that I have a video that you should check out on my channel. It's the STX 160, I believe. It's called the dissection video. It has like a picture of me putting on a glove, looking crazy with crazy mad scientist goggles. That was me dissecting a computer case that a man named James made on the small form factor forum, network forum. And he has a thread there, which I link to, which goes into all that stuff. It is amazing. It is so good. You should definitely check that out. You will learn. If that was around when I got started, I would have saved years of my life and tens of thousands of dollars just in that one thread. So definitely check that out. Yeah, and Sean, I think that works for his design, the Circle Billet Pro. If you guys want to check that out, look at it. I think he did a great job. I complimented it and got in big trouble in the forums. Almost got kicked off the forums for complimenting it because forums are all about drama now. I don't understand that. But that's a great use of it, and I think it turned out really well. And his finishing is spot on from what I can tell in the pictures. But typically, you have to. The cost of computer cases is really in finishing, and I have not found a computer case I really, really super like, other than what Lee & Lee can do as far as finishing goes. Jim Bond says, brass or copper panels, polished and coated? Yes. Like I just said, Jim, I am with you 1,000,000%, man. I would love a brass computer. Would it weigh 1,000 pounds? Yes. Would it cost $1,000? Yes. And I would still buy, I would buy $1,000 mini in a second that was all brass. I really would. That would be amazing. But it's probably not gonna happen. I've been shopping around, and everybody I talk to, it just ends up saying, no, we're not gonna do that. I mean, just they don't want to do that. I gotta find people who work with thick brass, which is really hard to find. Sheet metal brass. There's no such thing as like a person that specializes in sheet metal brass. I found copper, yeah, but sheet metal not necessarily. Danny T says, would you consider increasing the S4M height a few millimeters to accommodate the CryoRig C7 CPU cooler? That is a great question. So thank you so much for the huge donation, and I will try to answer to the best of my ability. Yes and no. No, I think the S4M, and I'm just coming to this conclusion this week, the last 2 days. I think the S4M I need to protect, and I need to keep it that small computer case that makes you make good choices when it comes to small, or hard choices when it makes a small form factor. So I don't think I'm going to increase the size of it. However, future cases, they would support the C7 for just engineering reasons. It happens to work out that I have a computer case I'm working on now that can support a C7. So, yes and no. The reason that it wouldn't be a few millimeters, though, is because you can't just clear the side panel. You need to have an air gap, and depends on the fan, right? For the NHL9i, it's 7 millimeters. 7 millimeters is the best way for the NF14. My brain is completely shot, guys. That's why I'm talking so fast and I have no filters, because if I stop talking, I'm going to fall asleep. But you need a 7 millimeter air gap in order for that fan to work. Otherwise, it's going to be loud and noisy and not perform very well. I don't know what it is for the CryoRig, but if you made the side panel hit flush, it's probably not going to work very well, and it would be kind of pointless. Also, I know I'm so far behind, I haven't released it yet, but I have some documents that I might share with you because I'm such a bad... I really am going to try to get them out next week. If I don't get next week, I'll share them with you. The C7 is better than the HL9i under certain conditions, but it's not like... It makes some trade-offs. Like, it's a much noisier, louder solution than the HL9i. So you get a couple degrees. The HL9i is actually... That's the subject of a different video. But the bottom line is, I don't think that the C7, other than the price, which is really good, is worth increasing the chassis. If you want pure performance, go with the LP53. And if you want the best all-around performer that drops right in, doesn't have to do any modding, is great all around, an HL9i. So, sorry. Michael says, can you give us any preview specifications on the second case you're making or an ETA? No preview specifications. It has a lot of super unique features, and I'm not going to do that until I actually have a prototype underway. Once I have a prototype in hand and it works, then I will share it with you guys. I think. Depends if I'm going to release it or not. If I'm going to release it, then I might not share it with you guys. If I'm not going to release it, then I will share it. ETA. The goal this is completely pointless to talk about because goals never work out in real life like you want. But the goal would be to show it off at Computext. And then it would probably take a month to actually sell it from that. So that's the new case. Now the mini, I want to get your feedback. Give it quickly because I think I might have finagled my way into making more with Li and Li, which would be really good in Taiwan. So I'm thinking about making more S4Ms. I was not sure. 1 week ago, I was not sure. Not even 1 week ago. But that's why I'm asking, what updates do we want that are easy to do? What mounting holes am I not thinking of? What increasing the height, like the gentleman suggested I do for the C7? Those are all great suggestions. So those kind of suggestions, let me know and I'll think about it. Embellis says, have you considered adding fan mounts or brackets above the GPU power cable for somebody is running a shorter card or one with an end power connector? Like the Sky Bracket Duo? Got it? If you could explain that to me, and I'm really tired, so I'm really sorry, differently, or send me an image or a napkin sketch, that would be great. Because if it's a bracket type of problem, great. Because I can always make adapter stuff for the Sky Bracket Duo with 3D printing or whatever. And I can add more brackets too. That's something I could do. Is there a bracket that would help us somehow that I could add to the Mini that uses standard mounting holes? Or, oh, one thing I am going to do, I'm going to add threaded holes on the end somewhere on this computer case. Why? That way I can make custom carbon fiber and acrylic side panels. So you can have a full acrylic side panel or carbon fiber side panel that you can buy in my shop if you think that that looks cool. And certainly it can. And it will allow for us to make cutouts and openings and do all sorts of weird, cool stuff. Like you could fit a C7 in there and have a hole around it. That'd be kind of cool. Anyway, I'm going to add threaded holes so I can do that. I don't know why I didn't do that before. But yeah, anyway. Flavio, I mean, the thing about the NHL 9i is that it is the perfect S4 air cooler. It could have a little bit of tweaks, but Noctua is not going to make the tweaks that would need to improve. If you want a tweaked version that's better, you want the LP53. Now, it gets better because it doesn't have the clips that hold the fins together, so it's a flimsier, it's kind of a crappily put together heatsink. And Noctua wants a beautifully engineered, solid heatsink, right? So, unfortunately, that's holding it back a couple degrees. But other than that, the size is perfect. The compatibility is literally perfect. I've not come with a single board that doesn't work. I mean, you have to take some stuff off for Asus boards, but a minimal amount. Yeah, so it is. I can put another Discord link at the end of this video. I'll do that, don't worry. Hey, Carpenter, you ask a great question, but I spent like the first hour of this video talking about that. And I was really bad. I just totally ranted, so I don't want to put everybody else through that again, but you can rewind and watch it if you'd like. Novak says dust filters. You can buy dust filters now, custom dust filters. I think it might be customdustfilters.com if you really want them. You probably don't want them though because the Mini doesn't have intake fans. Dust accumulates, and don't take my word for it, science it out yourself. Dust accumulates when it can't escape, right? And the Mini is all vents. So dust filters are going to help you. You're going to get dust on your fan blades no matter how much dust filters you have. You're going to have to clean that out eventually. So I have a server that has dust filters, and I have to take the dust filters out and clean the dust filters, and I still have to open it up and I have to spray down the computer. Whereas the Mini, it actually stays rather dust-free. I'm not the scientist that came up with this. I don't really know why it works so much, but I really do think it's because dust doesn't really get trapped. It can come in and blow right out. So there's that. But you can get custom dust filters if you'd like. Yeah, Michael, I'm really excited about adding something as simple as adding holes because I do want to make more side panel stuff. And the curved side panels are beautiful and gorgeous and amazing. But it's I like customizing things, right? Not from concentrate. So that will be a lot of fun to do. Um, it's as simple as just adding some holes. Now I can always mod holes right into the customer builds I was doing, but if you guys wanted to order it, I'd rather have the holes there so you can just bolt it in yourself. There you go. DemiFlex makes a set of custom filters right for the Mini. And yes, dust filters do increase temperatures. I hate dust filters, guys. I really hate them. I mean, sort of. I don't really totally hate them all the time, but generally speaking, when it's a show computer case, there's no point because you have to end up spraying the computer out anyway. So why bother? You're just going to end up cleaning dust filters and your computer case. That's my opinion, and reduce your temperatures. That's my that's my 2 cents. I know people disagree with me, and that's fine. You are welcome to have a different opinion than me. My opinion is probably the most worthless opinion of anybody on this channel, but I'm the one with the microphone. Aesthetic says, what about glass instead of acrylic? Not possible if I want vents, but you could definitely order a glass panel that's the size. It'd be kind of expensive, but you could do it. But it wouldn't have vents. Dan from SFF Lab, yeah, that's my distributor. He has been trying to develop a side panel that had vents in it that was tempered glass. That was like a year of research and development. He knows all the manufacturers in China that can do that kind of weird stuff, but it's just not going to be a possibility. The stream will go on until I get bored, and you can watch it later. It will be on demand later. You might have to check out the playlist. I hide them in the playlist so it doesn't clutter up my front page, but you can watch it later. Oh, yes. Oh, thank you. Regular maintenance says, wasn't there some VESA mount discrepancy with sky slots? The Mini, despite my trademarks and everything on the box and everything, does not use sky slots. On accident, there was a problem with the die. I don't know why. They must have thought that the sky slots weren't a thing. Like, oh, well, we can change this and make it a little bit cheaper. I don't know. Regardless, they don't line up with VESA mounts as they're supposed to. So I definitely want the sky slots to be actual sky slots. That way you can VESA mount the Mini. Very good point. And I gotta really drive that home when I talk to the manufacturer. And JRDC brings it up right afterwards, but basically the Mini is supposed to be VESA compatible just by the sky slots. So yeah, I gotta scroll up because there's a couple of good questions here too. Charles says, how about a stand that has the AC/DC block in it, so when you set it in, the stand plugs into it? That's a great idea. I mean, that'd be a cool kind of mod if somebody's into it. Johannes says, have you had a chance to benchmark the 2060? And I have not even a chance to plug in the 2060, but I'm at the point where we showed it off. It will fit inside the case with some, because it's special. It's a special card. Oh yeah, Jim Bond says he has cats. I mean, if you have cats, I don't even understand how you can survive, but there will be hair everywhere. So you could mod your cats by shaving them, I suppose. Jamie says, anywhere in the release of the 400-watt HDplex? It's released. It is out. I don't know if you ran out of stock early, but it's out and you can buy them. You can actually buy them from me. I have a box of them. But check with, especially if you're not in the United States, you probably want to talk with Larry because I have to charge you shipping and Larry will not. So one of the dudes on the forum actually posted a lot of that, but I wish there was too. There is a spreadsheet on the forum that you can go look at that talks about volume and compatibility and stuff like that. There are some pictures one customer posted of. Let me see if I can send that to you. Where is it? I'm just not having good luck finding pictures in my giant imager album. This is embarrassing. I just saw it. Here we go. Here's the S4MC next to two of my favorite cases. And then here's a picture of the S4MC next to the S4M, because that matters too. It's kind of dumb. How about an album? Well, I guess I don't have an album. But I do have this picture, the back. And I do have this picture of the top. Yeah, to this particular product, I'm not interested in making less expensive. I want to be as premium as possible. So I'm not going to make it less expensive. And the weird thing is too, how manufacturing works. It's not going to be any less expensive if I go with steel, even though that steel is easier and cheaper to work with than the mini, because the manufacturer does not want to give you a price break on that kind of thing. You know, they're going to say, okay, well, we're not going to change our dies over. We've already made it for aluminum. We're not going to do that. So that's not going to happen. I could make another computer case that's cheaper. And I do want to do that in the future. I want to make like an S3 when I have money to do that. That could be a cheaper made mini. But wait till you see my computer case that's coming out, or I want to release later this year. Novak, I don't know. SFF Lab, I thought, should have a way to check out and see the shipping costs. But generally speaking, you can ship the mini anywhere in the world for about $20 to $30. And it's really fast, to be honest. It's really, really fast. So that's the reason I work with SFF Lab, is the shipping. Really low cost compared to what I could do in the US, and it's very fast. Charles says, will you make the mini in different colors? No, but I am trying to get my powder coating shop back up and running again. It takes a lot of space and money, but I'm getting a little bit further as I go along, so I could do custom panels in the future. But, you know, if you can't wait on me, go take it to your local powder coater guys, which is always great, and have them do it. Sean says, have you considered a version of the S4 Mini in polycarbonate? No, I don't think the Mini will ever be in a polycarbonate. I do like acrylics. I think that they're optically superior, and they don't scratch as easy, and they're easier to machine and make than polycarbonate. But we're talking plexiglass basically versus acrylic, and I don't think that I would make a computer case out of not plexiglass. Sorry, my brain is broken. But as far as a acrylic mini, yes, I wanted to have pictures of the prototype this week from Laser 3D. He wanted to make some of the minis, but a laser version of it. So yeah, that should be available ish pretty soon. JRDC says, it's possible to get an S for money with a side slots going in the same direction. No, because I'd have to make a completely separate part, and this is basically the same part that's flipped. And when you have everything installed, you can't see it anyway, right? You can only see it in renderings or if the case is empty. So you can't even look at it with the panels on because your eyeballs don't work that way. You couldn't even look at it. So I don't think it's that big of a problem, but if you do, then bummer. Because I'm not going to make another version. It would make the cost another $25 if I did something like that. Wang says, do they remove the anodization before powder coating? No. The anodization, even though it's sealed anodizing, it's a very high-end anodizing, it still works amazing with powder coating. So you don't have to do any prep. You just have to wipe it down with like glass cleaner. You're good to go. Wipe it down, paint it, ready to rock. You don't have to sand or anything. And you'd have to really sand too. I have a video I'm going to release talking about anodizing because people don't really get it so much. And I want to show how scratch resistant this is. It's phenomenal. I didn't know how scratch resistant Lee & Lee's anodizing was until I took a Scotch Brite to it and had no effect. You can go through the anodizing, of course, but the actual surface is extremely hard. Nathan says, do you have any suggestions to prevent the Mini from wobbling when upright? You could just have these holes right here on the side. It's for if you wanted to have an adapter plate. Some corporations do it for their front desks. They can actually drill and bolt the Mini right to the desk so people can't walk off with them. That's what those holes are for. You can reuse them in that direct way. Or you can bolt right through your desk. As far as it falling over, I've never had that happen. So I was worried about it myself. But like I said, I've never had it happen. And no LAN event or trade show has it happened where people are touching it and moving those plastic tables around. So I'm pretty okay with it, though I have had a customer that had a cat that knocked his over, and that kind of sucked. But it survived, it just got a little dented. Charles says, a collapsible handle. Do you know what I really want to do? This was goal number 1. I think it's actually what inspired me to make the computer case was a handle. I wanted to have like really high-end leather handles. This is not a high-end leather, but really high-end leather handles that can bolt to these brackets in the front. And I found a company that can do it, but they're kind of hesitant about doing them in any kind of bulk. They're like a handcrafted type of thing. But we'll see. I really want to do that because I love leather, and combining that with my favorite computer case would be amazing. Siegfried asks, do the fan brackets also work with SSD's optical drives? Are you talking about the Sky Bracket Duo? Because yeah, totally. That's what they're for. It's for hard drives and or fans. I don't have one laying around, unfortunately. But yeah, you can put two 2.5-inch hard drives in the Mini with this Sky Bracket. Oh, I want to show you something really cool. A buddy of mine is doing the photography for free. I might not be able to do that easily, actually. Yeah, it's not going to be easy for me to do. That's okay, so that's weird. I got a lot of people ask for replacement screws for the Mini, but it should come with them. So that's weird to me because I'm paying for extra screws for every Mini that I've made. So why are people not getting that? I'm going to open up a new box. This is a brand new Mini from the manufacturer who did not know they were shipping it to me. Because I do random quality control tests. See you, Michael. those are sharp scissors. Ow, wait. I'm hoping that's what the problem is, Sean. I'm hoping that's what the problem is, because I'm gonna be mad if they don't have scissors. Every mini I've ever opened has had extra screws. But let's see if the later one does not. Let's see if the manufacturer started to get cheap. I should really use the right tool for the job so I don't cut my finger open again. Those are good scissors. Go buy you guys a set. Titanium nonstick scissors by Westcott. Dang, those are sharp. No, I cut myself. It's fine. It's just a cut. Just split a flesh wound. Secondhand mini, never been opened. Okay, so we do have a set called Extras of black screws. Good, which is what I ordered. And, of course, the motherboard power supply. There is not another packet of silver screws. I could have another packet of silver screws. I put the black ones in because everybody said they wanted black ones when I made the S4MC. They're like, I don't want silver screws, I want black ones. So I was like, okay, I'll include a set of black screws. But we can do that. I can order some silver ones if you guys want. Or you can change them all out to black. That's like not a lot of money. It's a lot of money for me. When you order 1,000 computer cases, pennies count. But it's not a big deal. Maybe I should just change all the colors to black, and then I can just be cheap and only include the black. Yes, it does include a sample of Josh's DNA. So if you guys need to clone me in the future, you know where to get. Yeah, I don't really have any extra silver screws. I have lots of black screws, but no extra silver screws. All right. I will get screws. I will get screws or make them available. We'll buy them and make them available. Lee and Lee has a really cool. They're not the only guys, but they have a really cool special screw and a really cool special tap, which allows you to get countersunk screws in really thin material, which is amazing. So I can make everything for a standard 100-degree countersunk head or 80-degree countersunk head, but it makes things difficult when doing some of the really crazy, wild things I've done here. So anyway, I think that covers a lot of it. Keep thinking about what you want to see in the new Mini. What am I missing? What obvious things do you want to do that I, as a designer, am too close to, so I can't make those changes? Send me an email. I will read this. So every single person who made a comment tonight, I will read it over and check it out. So don't worry about me missing that if I didn't respond. But yeah, that's it. That's all she wrote. Thank you for putting up with me too tonight, guys. I have to apologize to you. Like I said, I am so tired that I have no filter and I just talk. I hate that. I know it's ridiculous. It's embarrassing. I'm sorry, but thank you for putting up with it. Everything has been cool tonight. So I really appreciate you guys putting up with me and helping me out with all these ideas. And I'm going to get back to work on coming up with more brickless options. I got to figure out that 2060 and get this off to my customer as soon as possible. I also have a customer that is doing the brickless, this card right here, the Vegan Nano. And finally, I need to make one for a customer that's doing the 1080 brickless. all these cards are possible, just requires some modding. But let's get on those manufacturers and say, can you make a card that follows spec? Because there's no reason that we can't have that. Sean, what do you answer? What question do I have to answer? I'll walk over here, and it'll be the last one before I quit. Well, Sean, to be fair, I can't tell if you're trolling about the tempered glass side panels, but no. Magnetically attached side panels instead of screws. Okay, this is cool. I will talk about this for just a second, or not talk about it, but push you off in the right direction. There are these interesting little doohickeys that I found. They're like Pemcert magnets. These particular ones use screws. So you could screw that in the Mini, and then you could use magnets and attach side panels. And that could be done for your tempered glass idea too, because you could actually bolt this through the bottom sheet, and then you have a little bit of space for breathing. So you could do that. But I'm not going to do that because the flange size would kind of need to be big. I like the idea, but it'd have to be for a custom mod. So maybe like for my acrylic Mini that I make, or the side panels and stuff like that. Yeah, but not for the stock Mini. So there you go. Yes, the HDPlex 400 will get smaller, no doubt, and there'll be new products in the future that will be smaller for power supplies. So that's not going to be a problem. But what we need to do in the meantime is say, hey VGA, hey MSI, hey Gigabyte, hey all you guys, make cards that make sense. Again, please make small form factor cards small form factor again. Yeah, there we go. There. That's as political as I can get. I will rant to Kingdom Come about small form factor computer cables and cards. Alright, talk to you later, guys.